Welcome to 843 TV. I'm your host, Catherine Maidman, and we really have a fun show ahead of us. Today, we're going to meet with Taylor Ladd, who is part of the senior management of Town of Hilton Head, Barbara Comanici, who is with the Heritage Library, and of course, Heather Rath with the latest going on in the island. So stay with us. We'll be right back with more 843 TV, where communities come to speak.
.843 TV, where the Lowcountry comes to speak.
.843 TV,
where communities come to speak. And I have Taylor Ladd, who is a senior project manager here in Hilton Head Island, and I'm delighted to see you again. Last year, about a year ago, we were starting the process about the different park and recreation projects that we wanted to consider.
Yes.
So a year later, I'd love to have an update with you because there's been a lot of planning, and I think the town, the community has been part of it as well.
Yes.
All right, so your turn. Tell us what's going on.
Okay, I'm excited to tell you more about what's going on and what's happened so far because we've come a long way since I last spoke with you. So at this point in time, we have wrapped up part one of the Parks and Rec Master Plan. Actually, Town Council adopted it last week. So what that was is we had a consultant come in and they worked with us to do a needs assessment for our parks and recreation system on the island. They looked at our parks, they looked at our funding mechanisms, they looked at our operations and maintenance and all of our amenities and let us know what we're doing great, where the gaps in service are, and what we could be doing better. So what came out of that were a lot of recommendations for, hey, town, here we've done this study, and we heard from the community about what they want for Parks and Rec, so this is what we think you should do. So now what we've done is we've taken all that information from our consultant and we've rolled it into the town's new comprehensive plan. It's called Our Plan. Several people watching have probably heard me speak about it before, but we're hoping that Town Council will be adopting that plan next week. So in our plan, the town's 20-year comprehensive plan, we have a huge section about Parks and Rec. And what's in there is everything from part one from our consultant, and we have goals and strategies to help guide the town in making planning and policy decisions for Parks and Rec and for everything else into the future. So it's been a very exciting process.
Well, you know, it's really exciting because a couple of things. Well, we are an island.
Yes.
So we only have so much space.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have to decide how much ocean, how much green space, how much, and we want to keep our community healthy. I mean, one thing about being in our community, the pandemic, everybody's on a bicycle. It's such a healthy environment. Mm-hmm. And having those special parks and recs in the green space is very important. I think that's what keeps Hilton Head #1 island in the country type of thing.
Yes.
So as we develop this, I'm excited because it's a community event. But with the different areas we're talking about, can you share with me? Because I'm just thinking of the island. What neighborhoods are we thinking about as they look at the study?
So the study looked at all of our active parks on the island. So those are places like Barker Field, Chaplain Community Park, and all of our beach parks, and even the new park that's coming up down in the Coligny area, Lowcountry Celebration Park. They looked at it as a whole system because the best way to find out where the gaps are and where the needs are for people in the community who may not be close enough to a park, where do we need new parks, things like that to help guide that decision-making process. We had to look at the whole thing. But a really exciting thing that came out of the study was the consultants worked with the community and town staff to identify 3 locations where we can prioritize some major park developments. And the first one was Chaplain Community Park. The next one is Crossings Park, and the other one is they found a place on the island, an area on the north end of the island where they said, hey, you guys would really help fill the need if you put a community park in the north end of the island. And guess what's there? The Planners Row Golf Course. So the town owns a portion of that former golf course. We call it the Mid-Island Track. So we're looking to get feedback from the community now to hear what kinds of ideas they have from to do with these 3 locations.
Well, that was going to be my next question because what do we want? I mean, are we looking for, well, we have ball fields, we have things like that. Mm-hmm. Are we looking for tracks, bike paths, tennis courts, public tennis courts? Are we looking for, so what are people asking?
So we've heard from our pickleball community. They've been working with the town for a few years now to guide us in what their needs might be for a pickleball facility. So we're hopeful that that will come out of this. I'm sure we'll hear from them in this part of the process. And we've heard from folks about having off-road bike pathways. We've heard about observation towers for and facilities to support bird watching and nature. Things like having more education and interpretive information for our history and our culture, which some of our parks have, like historic Mitchellville Freedom Park. Has really great interpretation, but folks want to see that in more areas of the island as well. So there was very much a loud voice about having more activities for leisure, less. We have pretty strong sports facilities on the island, so more it was like, some of that's looking tired, let's make it a little better. But what people want more of is more of those opportunities for leisure, and that's probably very much a result of our current condition, where folks want to just get outside and be at peace and walk in nature and maybe learn some new things.
One thing that came to mind, picnic areas.
Yes,
under
absolutely.
things, under having
Yes.
a big tent or a big, at least we get out of into the shade. I think something like that would be really awesome, just because we want to be outside. We go through a drive-through, and what happens? You eat in your car.
Yes.
So we'd like to go to the drive-through. Let's go
Yes.
over and have our lunch at the bench and look at the water and look at the Broad Creek or something like that. I think that's all exciting.
Yeah.
So what can the community do to help? What's the next thing?
Right. So we just launched part 3 of our big master plan process for Parks and Rec. And so the community can get involved in 3 ways. So the first one, of course, we have an online survey. Got to have a survey. That's through, you can get to that through the town's website on our open town hall portal. And the point of that survey is we have more specific questions. So it's like, hey, if you go to Chaplain Community Park, what do you think about the stuff that's there now? What do you think would make it better in the future? So we're asking for very specific input from the community. We're also asking for them to help us prioritize all of the great ideas that have come out of the process so far. The second way is we're doing this month 3 virtual town hall meetings. You need to register to attend, and I'll get to that in just a moment, how you can do that. And the third way is in November, we're doing 2 open park days. So we'll be enforcing social distancing, but staff will be out at Jarvis Creek Park and then at Shelter Cove Community Park to speak with folks about what they think. So all of these are overlapping ways to get involved. So you can do one or you can do all 3, but we want to hear from you. And all this can be found through the town's website.
Thank you so much for all this information. Sure. And seriously, to our community, this is a great way to have a voice. And we can work with you and we can tell, do all these wonderful things. All right, so till the next time I get to see you.
Yeah.
We'll be right back with 843 TV.